those people that you just want to just sort of walk out on the plank right now.
I had her walk out of the room when she's talking. And let's not forget, her back and forth is one thing. But let's go back to May 2021 New York Post. Internal emails showed something very interesting during that school opening of the CDC. This was a headline back then. Powerful Teachers Union, that's hers, influenced CDC on school reopenings, emails show. And it says in there, in at least 2 instances, language suggestions offered by the union were adopted nearly verbatim into the final text of the CDC document. With the CDC preparing to write that schools could provide in-person instruction regardless of community spread of the virus, Trotner, this is Kelly Trotner, Senior Director of Health Issues at AFT, argued for the inclusion of a line reading, quote, in the event of high community transmission results from a new variant of SARS-CoV-2, a new update of these guidelines may be necessary. That language appeared on page 22 of the final CDC guidelines. So you see Weingartner go out and say, well, we got to see what happens with these variants. Oh my gosh, the Omicron variant is super dangerous. So she was leveraging literally the language that the AFT had added into the CDC guidance that the CDC allowed, which is a whole other story. But let's go back to...
and when we look back at it, we covered this a lot, but just talk about the tail wagging the dog, the fact that the scientific body was answering to the teachers' union and how the science would be handled across this country in our schools. It's just embarrassing for everybody involved, at the very least.
Right. A highly lobbied group taking money from people you don't want to be writing these opening guidelines. So let's look at some of the headlines of Weingartner throughout the last couple of years. Here's her Twitter post. Actually, we hear directly from her words herself. She says, huge. Judge strikes down Florida's school reopening order. Says unconstitutional to require brick and mortar classes this month. Judge requires safe school reopenings. Thank you. Then here's another one. Teachers union considers strike over school reopenings. Here's one before that CDC announcement in 2021. Reckless, callous, cruel teachers chief denounces Trump plan to reopen schools. And the teachers did strike, and here's the headline. Teachers unions test goodwill with strike threats, hardball negotiations. But, what were the other countries doing? Because during one of those interviews at CNN, she said, Europe was doing a lot better than us, and they opened up, and they had all the mitigation techniques, and it was fine. Well, remember Karl Lauterbach? He was the health minister for Germany, and we covered him because he admitted on air that the COVID vaccines did hurt people, and they admitted that Germany didn't really have a robust system for finding vaccine injury. Those were some bombshell headlines a couple months ago. But now he's saying this about school closures. Headline, we went too far with COVID restrictions, says German's pro-lockdown minister. He says some COVID restrictions were idiocy, and lengthy school closures were an unnecessary mistake. Germany's lockdown chief has admitted. So there we have admissions, atoning to what you did.
Yeah,
and then let's not forget
gaslighting.
That's right. And let's not forget Sweden, that never closed the schools. Unfortunately, we're dealing with gaslighting officials here trying to do this to the public. In Sweden, they're seeing headlines like this. Sweden children suffering no learning loss during pandemic, new study shows. No schools closed, can't have learning loss, no schools closed. So congratulations, Sweden. Once again, you did an amazing job, and the science shows it. Hopefully in the U.S. here, we'll get some people that are actually going to talk to the American people with honesty.
I mean, it's amazing. You just take all those stories together, Jeffrey. You have AI that's wanting to sort of censor, sort of control everything. You have the technology sides wanting to censor, assuming, as we've watched bots, we've watched algorithms come in. So now AI will be in control of our speech, who is censored in, who is censored out, whose voices get heard. And then you see sort of this inability to stand in the truth when it finally catches up to you. This is a perfect storm. We're in the middle of it, and it's so important work you're doing to sort of help us, wake up the world. Really, really important times.
These are pivotal times for American people and throughout the world, and I hope everyone is not only paying attention, but getting activated as well, whatever that means in your lives and your communities. It's time.
Yeah, by the way, it's for the people, by the people. That's your government. If you don't like AI, if you want this pause, I would recommend that you call your senator, your assembly members on both the federal and state levels, and let them know. I mean, just call and say, "Hey, are you aware Elon Musk and the leading godfather of AI is warning us all of just disastrous outcomes? I think we should listen to them. Want to know why my representatives aren't. That's all you have to do. It actually works. You start flooding their phones and sending emails. They listen. They work for you. All right. Great, Jeffrey. Great reporting. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, for those of you out there, we've been talking about you've been sponsoring and donating and making all this possible. Well, it happened. This week, May 1st, we launched The Informant, our online news magazine. In many ways, we take the highlights of what's shared here on the High Wire. Some of you call it like drinking from a fire hose. Well, it's laid out for those of you. Many of you like to read this stuff and have friends that prefer to read it than to see it in a video or sit down. The Informant is going to be so great for all of those things. This is really a gift. We're seeing this as a gift right now to all of you that support our work. So it's going to those of you anybody that donates, doesn't matter how much you donate, if you are donating to us, a recurring donor, which we keep asking a part of, then you get this online news magazine. And by the way, it's going to, we're getting rave reviews of everybody that received it this week, and we want to hire new writers and expand there. All that's made possible when you decide to sponsor and support the work that we do. Again, I just want to thank everyone out there that's made this possible. You'll have a lot of fun with it, and if you want to be getting the newest and latest and breaking stories in this magazine, all you have to do is become a recurring donor at the High Wire or at the Informed Consent Action Network. Okay. From the very beginning, and a lot of you now are watching the High Wire based on what you just went through with COVID. And your friends said, hey, you got to check out the High Wire. I'm not seeing anyone else